Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and once again, I am late in the day getting out my second video. This summer is getting me shuttling these kids around. I did a baseball practice today and taking kids to other friends' house and the whole thing. It gets pretty hectic, but I have taken my vitamins today, and I'm having my apple cider vinegar with water. For those of you, I think I've talked about this before on this channel. My dad got me, he's the official father of the Digital Asset Investor channel, but he got me, he said that it was good for you to drink. It's organic apple cider vinegar, and then you just like a tablespoon, and then you put water in there and maybe a dash of lemon juice. And that's what I do still. He said that is the way to go. And ever since I did had my ablation, I take magnesium as well. I've heard magnesium is really good for you, because what I've always heard is that we all have not enough magnesium in our system. So anyway, that was just on my mind. Mickey B. Fresh had tweeted this out, and I had retweeted it the other day, but I forgot to cover it, I think. Joel Katz and David Schwartz in 2014 talks about distributed identity solution. Blockstar's podcast, Keyless, which is what we talked about in the last video, was an enhanced privacy version of this. Unfortunately, a number of people saw the word biometrics and went off the deep end with tinfoil hats. Didn't even make effort to listen. Keyless equals exact opposite. And this is David Schwartz in 2014.
I think another solution is a distributed identity system that makes compliance easier. Compliance is a cost center for companies today, and it's irritating for consumers that they have to, like with exchanges, they have to turn over their identifying documents to an exchange, and they may not even know whether that exchange is trustworthy. So an identity system that keeps identity in the hands of consumers, multi-signature, and then dealing with regulatory issues and compliance,
Okay, I thought that was a pretty good clip. It seems like these guys had it all figured out from way back when. Okay, then Ripple tweeted out this article today, XRP, a preferred base currency for arbitrage trading. We had a couple of people that added to that. Brianna Madigan was one. XRP's speed, low transaction cost, and scalability makes it incredibly well suited to take advantage of price differences and reduced risk exposure for inter-exchange transfers. And then she's tweeting out the article. But then Wrath of Kahneman came in and summarized it even better, I thought. While explicitly about speed and cost, article also underscores XRP's systemic safety. Liquidity providers can keep large sums secure off exchanges, moving on easily when needed. It's fluid between exchanges, eliminating the capital pooling of exchanges using their own token. So I'm not going to go any further into the article, but I thought that sometimes when it's an article that doesn't really interest me much, I find people that summarized it. But the most interesting thing out of it is this line to me. It's talking about speed cost, but it underscores XRP's systemic safety. That, I think, is the key out of there. Now, I found a new Jed McCaleb. Remember, Jed McCaleb started Ripple and then had a disagreement with them and moved on to create Stellar. And now he's the CTO of Interstellar. And Interstellar, he's the CTO of Interstellar, just like David Schwartz is the CTO of Ripple. And then the CEO of his company is the guy that created Zelle, which is what most of your banking apps run on. But Ripple is mentioned in this interview a few times, and this is Charlie Shrem, who was around in the early Bitcoin days, and so these were some of the early guys there. In fact, tell you a story. I was sitting at a Mexican restaurant in Las Vegas at the blockchain conference that we went to there last year. We were sitting in a Mexican restaurant. That guy, Charlie Shrim, was at the table right beside us. But at the time, I did not know enough of his background to really go and talk to him. He's in the Bitcoin movie. I can't remember the name of the Bitcoin movie. I think it's on Netflix. Worth going and seeing if you haven't seen it. Might be interesting for me to watch it now after everything I know now, because I've learned so much over the last couple of years. But anyway, very interesting interview between these two. Here's the first clip I wanted to play for you.
So I try to look at I try to look at common denominators and parallels in the different projects that you're involved in. And so what I've noticed is that with Ripple, it seemed like, just from talking to you in those days, I remember Arthur, and I miss Arthur, and I talk about Arthur. Actually, I messaged him the other day, like a month or two ago. I remember when I had first understood Ripple, and you first explained it to me, I understood it as this, is a way for people to extend social credit to each other. So it seemed like, and that was like how I first kind of got it when Chris came in and he was able to expand on it. So that focuses on like the person. Is Stellar more focused on corporations and companies and banks and working together at a protocol level, and you think Ripple is more like person to person?
Well, I think Ripple is actually more focused on replacing like Swift essentially, but Stellar it's basically the main thing is interoperability, right? Like I think the fact that you could do this social credit on Stellar, but I think it's hard to do in practice because it's really changing the behavior of people. So I think maybe that'll come down the line. But the first thing that I think it's very useful for is just this interoperability story where it's like you have. Right now, the way payments work in the world, it's very much pre-internet. Like none of these systems talk to each other. Like ACH doesn't talk to M-Pesa, the mobile money thing in Kenya, things like that, right? But Stellar gives them a way to do this, where they can basically, it doesn't matter what financial institution you're using or what kind of currency you're using. All these things just can interoperate seamlessly, right? And that's kind of the beauty of it.
But that's like the last, that's like step 20. If I was talking to you, I'd say, Jed, you're like going from step 1 or step 2 to step 20, because what you just described and what your goal for Stellar is literally like almost for me the end all be all of financial products, is a way for anyone to have a financial product anywhere in the world and to plug into the global financial product ecosystem.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is step 20 to get everyone on board, but it's not. It is actually very near term, and it's already happening on the network where it's in these like local areas, like now people can send money back and forth between Europe and Nigeria because there's a company in Nigeria that's on Stellar and there's a company in Europe that's on Stellar. And so these companies are interoperable. And any other company that joins just becomes part of this network, right? And so it is nascent, but it is still useful like today, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought that was interesting. And then there's another interesting clip at the 28:30 or so. Here we go.
A very reasonable thing for governments to do. Whereas, like, if only 1 million people are using your currency, there's no real reason to print it. Like, there's no macroeconomic stuff going on that is an excuse for that.
That's a good point. It's like, no one's using this. Let's just print more of it to make more.
Yeah. So I would be pretty skeptical of it on the cryptocurrency scale.
Are you in touch with a lot of the people that were involved in some of the early projects like Ripple and everything?
I mean, I don't talk to the Ripple folks really, but I mean, every once in a while I'll run into some of the
like Arthur, David, guys like that.
Yeah. So I mean, I see, like, I run into like early Bitcoin people occasionally, and that's always cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's awesome that most of them are still in the space, and most of them are still doing stuff.
I felt like he completely avoided that question. I felt that answer sounded like maybe he does see David and those guys, and he doesn't want to talk about it. Every time, that's the second time I've seen this guy recently, when Ripple comes up and talking to the guys at Ripple, he avoids it like the plague. He doesn't want to be associated at all. Now that means one of two things. Either there is a lot of bad blood, or they're together a decent amount and he doesn't want people to know it. And I feel like maybe it's that. Because I think a part of me has always believed that maybe Ripple is working with Stellar in some kind of way or some fashion. I have no basis in saying that. I'm just telling you what I think could be. Maybe not. Okay. Now, the final clip I wanted to show you, the guy basically, you know, what we've heard all along, right? All we've heard is that, yes, not cryptocurrency, but blockchain. Okay. That's what we've heard out of Jamie Dimon and all these guys, right? And those actually, before I play this clip, I'll show you this because it reminded me of this. Ashish Burla says, when people tell me blockchain but no crypto, and he was joking about the same thing. Well, listen to this last clip where Charlie asks him about what IBM's interested in. This, let me get rid of something here. Okay, right here.
To me, how I would say the mood is.
Yeah.
But I don't know that I have the greatest pulse. But.
So not internally in Bitcoin, but you know, you're interfacing with some of these large corporations like IBM and whatever. What do they think crypto is? Do they think, you know, I'm not generalizing here.
Yeah.
But what do they think crypto is all about? Do they think it's still money? Or are they looking at more blockchain-y? Trying to get an insight into like what's going to be the buzzwords of 2020, 2021.
Yeah, I mean, definitely the ones that we talk to like it because for the monetary aspect, right? They like it for payments. Anyone who wants to just use it for blockchain, like we don't spend time with because it doesn't really make sense. So
like Long Island iced tea.
Yeah.
Well, what's the perfect type of company that you would love to approach you guys? And because, you know, this show has a lot of listeners.
So, I mean, for us, I mean, I think the sweet spot for us is not these like really large enterprises. They just move too slow and it's too cumbersome, and not the smallest players, but someone that's like technically capable and is wants to send money cross border and like kind of wants to connect with other things out there in the world. Like, someone like Venmo wanted to like make.
Okay, that's enough of that. But I just wanted to illustrate. It's not blockchain. It's about the money. In Ripple's case, it's about all of the money. All right. Now, I saw something that I thought was pretty darn interesting. And of course, it could be nothing, but it still jumped out at me. So I still have to show you. Chris Giancarlo had tweeted this out. Digital Dollar. He's the guy in charge of the Digital Dollar Project. And he's with the Digital Chamber of Digital Commerce as well. He says Digital Dollar Project's white paper will be published tomorrow on digitaldollarproject.org, making the case and setting up framework for U.S. CBDC through iterative public-private process. David Treat, who's from Accenture, and I will discuss with Codex Coasts. I don't know who that is, but I'll follow him. Follow David Treat at the Parallel Summit.io. So they're going to discuss this at parallelsummit.io tomorrow at noon. Okay. And this is apparently something that is done by the Digital Chamber of Commerce, Chamber of Digital Commerce. Well, so I decided that I would click on Parallel Summit.io, and something jumped out at me immediately. When I looked at Parallel Summit, there is something that immediately struck me with the logo. This is Parallel Summit, where they will be introducing the white paper for a digital dollar. And the thing that jumped out at me is their little logo here. It's got these two things, and I'm talking about the second I saw it. It reminded me of the Stellar logo and the two parallel lines. This is what the Stellar logo when they created their redesign. And again, there's probably nothing to it, but it still was worth looking at. So they've got those two parallel lines. Here's the people that are going to be there. Catherine Coley, who was at Ripple and is now at Binance US. Then we've got Giancarlo, who's in charge of the Digital Dollar Project. Hester Pierce, who is probably the most important figure in crypto at the SEC. Anthony Pompliano, who for some reason still thinks that Bitcoin is the one. And then you've got Representative Darren Soto, who was one of the guys that was working on getting a bill through Congress. Coining 203 in the Twitter community, XRP community, had actually gone and met with him. Then Kathleen Sullivan, partner and CEO, CMT Digital Holdings. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe and hit the like button and tell your friends and family that this summit, this parallel, I don't know if I can get back to the logo. I'm hitting a thing here. I have a lockup. This parallel summit, the logo, well, now the computer's trying to crash, so I'm going to stop this video, but let's look one more time. This parallel summit looks awfully similar to the way they designed the Stellar logo. Thanks for listening.